This video is sponsored by Best Buy.
When I moved into a house, I knew I wanted to give it an amazing sound system with speakers everywhere for all the gatherings I'd be able to throw at this new place. Basically, I wanted to control my music through my entire place so that everyone around me could hear Smash Mouth blaring through all the different speakers. And that's what Sonos products enabled me to do. But now that I've been engrossed within the Sonos ecosystem for the last 2 years, is it worth spending the money and getting into? Let's find out with the long-term review. Before we continue, let's talk about today's sponsor, Best Buy. Best Buy is having their President's Day sale right now with deals on a bunch of different tech products. Obviously, when I'm recording this, it's not President's Day. However, here are some examples of the great deals that you can find on their site right at the time of this recording. You can pre-order the Samsung Galaxy Book 3 for $200 off. Or if you're looking for a brand new TV, this 55-inch Sony OLED TV is now $300 off for a good price of $999.99. Or maybe cleaning's your thing and you want to get a head start on spring cleaning. This Dyson Cyclone V10 cordless stick vacuum is currently $100 off. And you can actually get some of the Sonos devices that I've been talking about in this video right from Best Buy's site, or listen to how they sound in store. And if you're a Best Buy Total Tech member, you get access to exclusive offers that only Total Tech members get. By buying at Best Buy, you get a price match guarantee, meaning you can price match with other major retailers. If you find a better price elsewhere, you can just rack up those sweet Best Buy rewards points. And with stores nationwide, you're able to order online with fast indoor pickup or have it delivered right to your door. So if you're looking to make some tech purchases this President's Day, or basically any day, check out the link in the video description below, and thank you Best Buy for sponsoring this video. For the past 2 years, I've owned Sonos related products, and over the 2-year span, my Sonos collection has been growing and growing, almost like Pokemon. I just had to get them all. Throughout the house, I have Sonos Ones, which is this speaker right here, Sonos Roam, a Beam Gen 2, an Arc, Sub Mini, and even the IKEA branded symfonisk bookshelf speakers. Now that's a lot of Sonos. First, let's talk about how Sonos speakers look in general. Most Sonos devices come in either black or white and aim for a more minimalistic aesthetic that blends in with more modern furniture in homes. And since my house has more modern decor, they fit perfectly inside this home. These speakers don't stand out as much as some more traditional looking speakers that might look a little strange in some living spaces, but overall, in terms of appearance and build, these are pretty good. With the oldest Sonos device I own, the Gen 1 Sonos Beam, so far none of these speakers have failed in this time frame at all. They work as good as the first day I got them. So what about sound coming out of these Sonos speakers? Well, for my untrained, non-audiophile ears, across the entire lineup, they sound pretty good. And I don't mean good as in, it's the best thing I've ever heard. I say good as in, they sound pretty good and good enough for my significant other and other non-tech savvy guests to say that it sounds great. I enjoy using a pair of Sonos Ones for listening to music in this studio space right here. I use a whole surround sound Sonos setup for my home theater setup I have, and they make playing video games and watching movies sound really good. The Sonos app even has this function on iOS devices you can use called TruePlay. TruePlay tweaks the sound of the speakers to the acoustics of the room you're in by making you awkwardly walk around it like a weirdo. But hey, it does work, and I highly recommend using TruePlay on any Sonos speaker you own. Just make sure someone's recording you while you're doing it though. It makes for good laughs later. That being said, if you're buying these solely for sound quality, they're for sure not the best value for money you can get, and you are definitely paying a premium for all the different extra features and convenience you get with them. What Sonos does great though is how easy it is to use their app to control and configure their speakers pretty much at will. The app itself is pretty great, enabling you to control the different Sonos devices in your home, what they're playing, their volume, and which device's audio is coming from. You can play audio from one room or select multiple rooms, and the Sonos speakers will begin playing music in all of those rooms at once, in sync, and you can even control the volume on each room individually while they're paired. The app even enables you to create custom EQs, but it's very bare bones, so don't expect a robust interface that lets you control the tiniest of details. But the most appealing aspect about Sonos, at least to me, is their modularity. They're basically speaker Legos. You can take different Sonos speakers and pair them together to make something even better, or you can separate them and use them individually. For example, if you use the Sonos One as a standalone speaker in a bedroom, you can add a second one to create a stereo pair. You can then add a beam soundbar to that and use the Sonos Ones as rear speakers for a surround sound setup. Or you can even use the soundbar alone if you'd like. You can make your setup pretty much as simple or as complex as you want. It's a scalable solution. Basically, it's a create your own Chipotle burrito bowl, but with speakers. You can add guac with your queso, lettuce, whatever. Being able to use wireless speakers alone or together adds a layer of flexibility that just makes sense. You might have a fully loaded Sonos home theater setup in your house and then one day move to a place that doesn't have a nice space for your setup. And so you can part out each piece into different rooms for a brand new purpose. All these different pairings and combinations are handled really well in the Sonos app. Plug in or turn on your Sonos speaker, press or hold a specific button, and then pop open the Sonos app. The speaker will appear, and then you can set up the speaker individually or pair your speaker together however you like. But that modularity and flexibility really only applies within their own Sonos ecosystem. It's really important to note that Sonos takes the walled garden approach with their products, which is really nice when it works and a pain to deal with when it doesn't. Sonos speakers can't be used in groups with non-Sonos speakers, only Sonos. And the only way to connect audio to these Sonos speakers is through Wi-Fi, casting audio for music apps, AirPlay, the Sonos app, or through the soundbars they offer that are connected to your TV through HDMI ARC or optical. They also can't be connected to with just Bluetooth, plain old Bluetooth. Okay, I kind of lied. You can do all of those things, but you pay a massive Sonos tax. You have to pay the gatekeeper to let you out of their walled garden to access these basic features. Want to add non-Sonos speakers to a Sonos ecosystem? Well, pay $700 for the Sonos amp. Want Bluetooth? Buy a Sonos Roam or Sonos Move. Want an audio jack? Buy a Sonos 5, a Sonos Port, or Sonos amp. They take these basic features that are common in devices significantly cheaper than them and only include them in their more premium or specialized products. That's one of my biggest complaints about Sonos. They leave those super basic, nice to have features for only their premium products. All the Sonos speakers work by connecting via Wi-Fi or Ethernet, meaning you can use them wired or wireless. Wired is obviously the better solution, of course. If the speaker is near an Ethernet port, I just plug it in through Ethernet. But Wi-Fi on these things is decent too. But that also doesn't mean they haven't made me frustrated in the weirdest ways either. Wireless is a little less inconsistent compared to wired, but you can mix wireless and wired Sonos devices together. In my media room, where I have the Sonos Arc, Sub, and 2 Sonos Ones in a surround sound setup, sometimes one of the Sonos Ones will just randomly get out of sync and become slightly delayed until I turn my TV off and on. Or they'll just randomly cut out and then come right back online and get back in sync. I would say, oh, that's just a Wi-Fi issue, but this room has fantastic Wi-Fi coverage with the access point literally just one room over. I'll also have instances where I pair multiple rooms together in the app and most of the rooms will start playing audio, but the last room refuses for a minute or two. Then I've had instances where the Arc, when connected to the TV, would play audio from the TV at a fixed volume and you can't adjust it higher or lower without restarting the soundbar. These issues aren't common and happen probably less than 5% of the time when I'm using them, but still something I thought I'd share because you might experience these situations too, and maybe even more depending on your situation. Many Sonos speakers also have built-in voice assistant functionality with Google and if they don't, they're labeled SL on the model list. So keep that in mind if you're someone who doesn't want a nosy assistant listening to your conversations. You can also choose which assistant to use on individual speakers, so if the majority of your smart home is in the Amazon or Google ecosystem, you can set that Sonos speaker to that assistant or use a different one for a particular room. This makes it easy to integrate different Sonos speakers into your smart home without having to keep an Echo or a Nest device in the same room. Since I personally use the Google ecosystem, and I'm not sure if this particular issue occurs with, since I don't use that assistant, when you listen to music at loud volumes and then you decide I'm done listening and then pause it, the next time the Google Assistant is triggered, it's still on that volume you left it at, leading to situations where Google can straight up give you a heart attack during quiet moments because it's just so freaking loud. So I guess a feature I'd love to see in the future for these Sonos products is the ability to control the voice assistant volume and music volume separately. Another interesting thing to consider about Sonos speakers is future compatibility. Sonos stopped providing features for their older devices that worked under the S1 app and only continued adding features and updates to S2 devices. That being said, S1 devices to this day still work like how they always work, but do not work within the same ecosystem as these S2 devices I have here. So they can't really communicate with each other if I decide to buy S1 devices. So if one day Sonos decides to do the same to the S2 devices when they release an S3 ecosystem, expect some compatibility issues where the new speakers can't really talk to the old ones. Okay, let's just say I had to recommend Sonos products. Which one would I personally recommend? Out of the ones I own, I really like the Sonos Beam, the Sonos One, and the Sub Mini. I think these are the best value in Sonos's lineup for their respective categories. And they actually go together nicely to make a pretty good surround sound theater setup if that's your thing. And if you don't care for voice assistants, the IKEA symfonisk bookshelf speakers sound almost as good as the Sonos One, but for much less at $120. Okay, so we talked a lot about Sonos and all the positives and negatives that I've been through with them. So knowing what I know now, would I still have bought my Sonos speakers? I think the answer would be yes. I'm not an audiophile and don't want to spend all of my time tinkering and messing around with a bunch of audio equipment. That's already annoying when I'm recording YouTube videos. I don't want to do that when I'm trying to relax too. Sonos makes it easy to basically just set it up and forget about it. The sound is good enough, but definitely not the best value, but their modularity and ease of use makes it easy to recommend. That being said, there are plenty of reasons not to buy Sonos speakers too. The moment you want something different, Sonos makes it really hard to integrate it within your current Sonos setup. And if you do want that feature, you'll be paying a hefty price for it. So you have to make sure the speakers definitely fit what you're looking for in your audio products. So keep those things in mind. But if those current products do lose compatibility with future Sonos speakers, I might consider that a good sign to try something different. Anyway, what do you personally think? Are you considering Sonos products? What are some Sonos alternatives that you prefer? I've heard of Blue Sound, but they seem like Sonos, but even more pricey. What are your preferred audio products for listening to music, movies, whatever? Leave all that in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and well, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Bye.